What's going on, guys? It's Fight Season MMA, and today I want to talk about the news that Alex Pereira broke himself, and I don't know if this is personal preference or if this is actual news that this is not happening, but Alex Pereira tweeted yesterday, he said the fight with Magomed Ankalaev isn't happening. And that brings a lot of questions in my mind for a bunch of different reasons. Some on Magomed Ankalaev's side and really none on Alex's side, but there are a couple that could be posed. In this video, I kind of want to just talk about my thoughts upon this, who Alex Pereira's next fight could possibly be, and what is going on with Magomed Ankalaev. This guy is a really good fighter inside the organization. He just went out there and beat Oleksandr at UFC 308. He's very good and probably deserves a title shot, but he hasn't really gone out there and has expressed interest to fight anywhere other than the Middle East, and I think that possibly could be a reason. But if you guys enjoy the UFC content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And while you guys are down in my description, please go over and follow my TikTok at Fight Season MMA. That would be absolutely incredible if you guys could help me over there, grow that page, and just be able to start, growing that over there and kind of getting multiple ways for people to see my content. Also, please let me know what you think about Pereira and Ankalaev probably not happening next, what the fight you think should happen, and everything in between. But without further ado, let's jump into the news about Alex Pereira not fighting Magomed Ankalaev. So Alex Pereira just came out yesterday and tweeted about him and Magomed Ankalaev possibly having a fight. And Alex Pereira said the words that Magomed isn't next. And that is crazy in my opinion, because Magomed Ankalaev is the rightful #1 contender. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, is Alex Pereira dodging Ankalaev? Does he know he's a wrestler? Is this what's going on? And the simple answer to that is no. One, Magomed Ankalaev isn't a wrestler. If you look at his stats and his everything that he's had inside of his UFC career, he does not have a submission. He cannot take anyone down, really. And he is primarily a striker and goes to the ground with someone if he can knock them down and kind of ultimately go for control time. He isn't like this suffocating wrestler down there, which I think is something that everyone has the misconception of. Now, someone like Alex Pereira, I don't think really cares about fighting Magomed Ankalaev for the fact that I don't think it's going to be this crazy fight to where Alex Pereira is going to get, like I said, taken down and everything. I think Pereira can knock him out on the feet, especially if Ankalaev is going to want to sit there and stand at the feet. His striking style is very rudimentary. It's not anything complex, but then genuinely, Magomed Ankalaev is a very good fighter. But I think the biggest question that is posed is, why isn't Magomed Ankalaev taking this fight? And I think that there's been some back and forth between these two individuals. Like Magomed Ankalaev has said that he only wants to fight in the Middle East, that consisting of Abu Dhabi, so Dubai, or Saudi Arabia, and Alex Pereira doesn't want to go fight over there. As we all know, Alex Pereira's last couple of fights have been in Salt Lake City, Utah, Las Vegas, Nevada, New York, Salt Lake City again, and then Miami, Florida. He's kind of had some different times to where he's fought recently inside the United States of America. That's where the UFC likes to hold him and his powers and the performance. He likes to hold it inside the UFC. No questions about that. But if Magomed Ankalaev is going to ever want to have to challenge for the belt, he's going to have to come over to the United States and fight. Now, the very questionable thing, and you guys are already probably typing in the comments about this, is Magomed Ankalaev fought Johnny Walker at the first event of 2024, and that was in Las Vegas, Nevada at the UFC Apex. So I just look at this, and I'm just questioning why Ankalaev doesn't want to come back here to fight. I know in 2022 when he fought Jan Blachowicz for the vacant light heavyweight title, it was in Vegas, and he kind of got screwed over in that fight, that ultimately resulting in a draw rather than a win for Ankalaev, which 100% should have been the case. But I look at this, and I truly see that Ankalaev, if he's going to have to gain this title, is going to have to come here. The challenger never gets to choose where the fight is being held, rather the champion, and I think Alex Pereira is someone who wants to fight inside the United States of America. But if Magomed Ankalaev isn't next, who is going to be next for Alex Pereira? Because there's two massive fights coming up that are really going to be the fights that decide who is going to be next for Alex Pereira. The first fight is coming up in about 4 weeks. That is the featured bout on UFC 311, Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill and Jiří Procházka. Now, Pereira has fought both of these guys, Hill once and Procházka twice. He's knocked out them in all 3 fights. But I do see a world where if Jamal Hill goes out there and absolutely just run through Jiří, that's going to be fight to make, and I think it's going to be a turnaround pretty quickly. Jiří, I think if only he gets something incredible, I think they do the fight with Alex Pereira. I think the fight with Jamal Hill makes a lot of sense because recently Jamal Hill and Alex Pereira got into it at the UFC PI. And if Alex Pereira and Jamal Hill now are on a stage, considering that this fight was the fight to headline UFC 300, an absolutely historic card, now only has more steam behind it, a fight that Jamahal Hill feels like he was wrongly done in. And genuinely, I think that this would be a crazy fight to really be had. I cannot wait to hopefully see these two get back in the octagon because I think Jamahal Hill gets a lot of flack. I think he is a little bit delusional, but I still think he's a very intelligent and good fighter. And I do think that, yes, there definitely could have been something in there that really threw off his rhythm, but 100%, I do think that Jamahal Hill versus Alex Pereira has a lot of steam behind it and definitely would be a bigger money fight for the UFC over someone like Magomed Ankalaev. Now, the other fight that I was kind of alluding to earlier, I don't know where it's placed on the UFC London card, but it is Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. Now, Carlos Ulberg was supposed to fight Jamahal Hill last year at International Fight Week. He ended up not doing that. He came back and ended the year after UFC Macau, where he fought Volkan Oezdemir, and he got a great win in that one. It wasn't like some crazy spectacular knockout or anything, but he got a good decision win over Volkan Oezdemir. And Jan Blachowicz is a great step up in competition, even though Jan is a little bit older. His last fight was in 2023, where he fought Alex Pereira, and he didn't fight in 2024 because he had 2 shoulder surgeries. But I do think this is a very good fight, and Jan Blachowicz is that guy who's only beat the best out of best inside the light heavyweight division. He's easily Pereira's toughest challenge, and I think has that big name behind him to where he could go in there and truly fight Pereira and get a good card off of it. Also, someone like Carlos Ulberg is a very fun fighter coming up in the rankings, and truly, I could see something like that going on. But also, I don't think the UFC would turn to a Khalil Rountree Jr. rematch. I don't think Khalil has proven himself to that extent, and I do think the fight that you possibly could make there would be Alexander Rakic and Khalil Rountree Jr., or possibly the loser of Jamahal Hill and Jiří Procházka versus Khalil. But genuinely, I'm looking at the UFC landscape right now, and Alex Pereira's only fight that is inevitable is with Magomed Ankalaev. There's other guys in the light heavyweight division that either don't deserve the shot, aren't worthy of the shot, and genuinely just are booked up in a fight. So I look at this and I'm saying, why is the reason that Ankalaev wouldn't be next? Could Alex Pereira be moving to heavyweight? I know John Jones and Tom Aspinall are going to fight. I also know that Alex Pereira likes to stay active. So I don't know if he would want to move down to middleweight because that cut is absolutely awful for him. And I just don't see him ever doing that ever again. But really, it's a big question mark in my head of why Pereira tweeted this Magomed Ankalaev fight is happening. This could be something as simple as banter out there to where he's just kind of getting at Magomed Ankalaev, thinking that he's looking over him. But I do think ultimately that's going to be the fight that happens. And if there's some otherworldly report and more validity to this report by Pereira that's saying that this fight isn't going to happen, I would be absolutely shocked considering that Ankalaev has been calling for the title shot. He's fought in Vegas prior. And if that is such a big issue, then Ankalaev is going to have to figure out a different way, and he's going to have to possibly wait his turn or never even get a title shot because Pereira is going to pick where he wants to go. There's rarely going to be a time where these guys are going to go and say, I want to fight there, and it 100% happens. So I just genuinely look, and I hope Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira happens. I think it's going to be a very good fight for Pereira. I think it's going to be a lot easier than a lot of people think, but I truly do think that Ankalaev has got to get himself back together, and he's got to just accept the fight no matter where it is. Las Vegas, Nevada, Miami, Florida, something like that. You just got to accept the fight. And genuinely, I do think that Alex Pereira, if he doesn't fight Magomed Ankalaev, is probably going to turn around and fight Jamahal Hill if he beats Jiří Procházka at UFC 311. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please let me know what you think down below in the comment section about Alex Pereira saying that he's not going to fight Magomed Ankalaev. Now, like I said, there's no reason associated and tied with the tweet. All I know is that's what Alex Pereira said, and I can only speculate a couple things coming from Ankalaev's side rather than Pereira's side. I know Pereira has gone down. He's fought anyone. He's fought Jiří Procházka on 2 weeks' notice. He fought Jamahal Hill to save UFC 300. He fought Khalil Rountree Jr., who was a dangerous test inside the UFC light heavyweight division. But Magomed Ankalaev has been notorious for not wanting to fight outside the Middle East area, and genuinely has been calling for a fight with Pereira over there in the Middle East. And I think that is something crazy considering that Alex Pereira as the champion. To go get the champion's belt, you can go wherever you want, but once you hold it, you can fight in the Middle East all you want. And genuinely, he could only fight once a year over there, and it would be a very fun thing. But if you guys enjoy the UFC content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And like I said earlier, please go follow the TikTok at Fight Season MMA. That will 100% help the channel grow. And while you're down there, please let me know what you think about Alex Pereira, Magomed Ankalaev. And do you think that this fight is going to happen? I definitely do, but there is a lot of speculation. If it's coming right from Pereira's mouth, he might know something more than we do. But genuinely, I think that this is very interesting considering all the other storylines about Ankalaev not wanting to fight in the US, him possibly rejecting a fight with Pereira prior, and all the stuff in between. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys very soon with more UFC content and news.